you mean that there is like a governing vessel, primitive and specialized?
Got it. Okay, those are the two, but actually they're the same thing at the same time. So what we have here in the specialized is this pathway that runs up the back. And then what we have that's still operating together with that at the same time is motion. So just one is kind of a focal point of the other. Focal point of the larger, more ambiguous part, primitive part. So that's why this technique of release of the central channel is very interesting, because it not only addresses the specialized meridian governing vessel, which an acupuncture is going to address by needling acupuncture points along there, but since we don't use needles, we're addressing that by opening up the channel through which that primary meridian flows through in order to regulate everything. If that channel's blocked up or restricted, then that governing vessel, it can't flow through, so it can't communicate with all of its extensions. So I find this really interesting in Shiatsu, that so much of the Shiatsu world is focused on these 12 meridians, but is not looking to the part that regulates those 12 meridians, that organizes it, that keeps it in balance. Even Masanaga himself is saying in his book, Governing Vessel, Conception Vessel, stands above the other 12 in terms of importance and regulates the other 12. So what we're trying to do here from this perspective is develop a way to evaluate, diagnose even, the quality of governing vessel via its primitive expression motion, and then have a technique, because we're not using needles, but have a technique to improve that flow. So we're definitely addressing both aspects, motion and the specialized flow, through one very subtle technique. And like you said, it's very interesting what happens when you're hardly touching the body at all, but when you're touching it very strategically. And a lot of you felt very interesting things from that. So from there, even if you're just going on to meridian work, let's say the only thing that you do from these 6 days is this technique. You're then improving the chances that any meridian work that you do is going to take hold at a much deeper level. It's going to penetrate, and it's going to sustain in the effect of balancing.